Look at you, sitting there, drowning in all that silence, that heavy kind, the one that wraps itself around your chest and squeezes, the type of silence that makes your own breath sound like an insult. I can see it in your eyes. You've been thinking a little too much. And thinking is a dangerous game when you're alone, isn't it? That's when the voices start creeping in, the whispers of the past, the shadows of regret. That's when you remember all the people you let in, all the ones you trusted, all the ones who swore they'd never leave. And yet, here you are, alone, again. But you know what's funny? They thought you needed them. Oh, they loved that idea. The idea that you were weak without them, that you would crumble if they walked away, that you'd fall apart the second they took their attention elsewhere. But reality has a cruel way of proving people wrong. Because now they're the ones begging. Funny how the tables turn when you stop depending on people who were only ever using you. You see, that's the trick they play. They convince you that you need them, that your worth is measured by their presence. They dangle their affection like a prize, like a drug, just enough to keep you hooked, just enough to make you afraid of losing them. But here's the truth. They never gave you anything you couldn't live without. Let me explain something to you. People, they love control. They love feeling needed. It feeds their ego, makes them feel powerful. That's why they show up when you're broken, when you're vulnerable. They act like they're saving you, like they're your lifeline. But in reality, they're just making sure you never learn to swim on your own. Because the second you do, the second you realize you don't need them, that's when they panic. That's when they start clawing their way back. That's when they start knocking on your door, whispering your name, acting like they suddenly care. But not because they miss you. Oh no. It's because they miss the power they had over you. Think about it. How many times have you watched someone disappear the moment you stopped catering to them? How many times did they lose interest the second you started valuing yourself? That's the game, kid. They only love you when you're convenient, when you're easy, when you're desperate enough to accept whatever scraps they throw your way. But the second you start demanding more, the second you start realizing your worth, they vanish. And you call that love? No. Love isn't about control. It isn't about conditions. Real love doesn't make you beg. It doesn't make you feel like you're constantly on trial, waiting to be judged, waiting to be abandoned at the slightest inconvenience. Real love, it stands, it fights, it stays. But the kind of people you've been surrounding yourself with, they were never real, they were leeches. And now that you've cut them off, now that you've taken away their power, look at them. Look at how desperate they are to get back in. But not because they love you. No, No, it's because they hate the fact that you don't need them anymore. You see, people hate when you grow, because your growth exposes their weakness. When you rise, you remind them of their own stagnation. When you walk away, you remind them that they were never as important as they thought they were. And that drives them insane, because they built their identity around being needed. They built their confidence on your dependence. And now they have to face the truth that they were never the reason you survived, that you were always capable of standing on your own. And that realization, it burns. But let me tell you something. There's no greater revenge than silence, no greater payback than moving forward without them. Because nothing destroys a person more than realizing they never had the power they thought they did. Nothing haunts them more than watching you succeed. Watching you become everything they swore you couldn't be without them. And that's what you need to do. You need to stop looking back. Stop checking if they regret losing you. Stop waiting for them to realize your worth. Because if they didn't see it when they had you, they don't deserve a second chance to. You were never the problem. You were just surrounded by people who were too small to handle your greatness. People who wanted to keep you caged because they were terrified of what you'd become if you were free. And now you are free. Free from their manipulation. Free from their judgment. Free from their limitations. And that is the scariest thing in the world for people like them. So let them beg. Let them regret. Let them watch you from the distance they created. Because the truth is, they never deserved you in the first place. You want to know what's really funny? The way they act like they're the victims now. Like you're the villain for walking away. Like you betrayed them. That's the trick of weak people. They rewrite the story so they don't have to be the bad guy. They'll never admit what they did. Never admit the nights they left you alone. The moments they made you doubt yourself. The way they took and took and took until there was nothing left of you but exhaustion. No, they'll never say that part. They'll only tell people how you changed, how you became distant, how you turned cold. And maybe you did. Maybe you finally learned. Maybe you realized that love isn't supposed to feel like a war you're constantly losing. Maybe you decided that being alone was better than being surrounded by people who made you feel lonelier than ever. And that scares them. Oh, does it scare them? Because now they don't have control. Now they don't have the power to pull your strings. They don't get to decide how you feel. They don't get to feed off your sadness, your insecurities, your desperate need for validation. They lost their grip on you. And people like that, they don't handle loss very well. They panic. They get desperate. They start throwing words at you like ungrateful, selfish, heartless. You see the irony in that, right? They were the ones who drained you. They were the ones who made you feel worthless. But now that you're done playing their game, now that you've finally chosen yourself over them, they want to cry about how unfair it all is. Unfair. That's a word they like to use, isn't it? Because to them, it is unfair. It's unfair that you're no longer their puppet. It's unfair that you don't need them. It's unfair that you woke up one day and decided their opinions don't define you anymore. It's unfair that you changed, because that's the worst thing you can do to people like them. Change, grow, evolve. Because the moment you do, they lose control. And the moment they lose control, they lose everything. But listen to me. Don't waste your time trying to prove yourself to them. Don't explain yourself. Don't argue. Don't try to make them understand. They won't. Because understanding means taking responsibility. And responsibility is something they will never carry. They'll twist the story however they need to. They'll paint you as the monster, as the one who turned their back, as the one who ruined everything. Let them. Let them say whatever helps them sleep at night. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is this: you're free. And freedom? Oh, that's something most people will never have. Most people will live and die in the cages they built for themselves. Cages made of approval, of validation, of the desperate need to be liked. But you broke out. You stopped waiting for permission to be yourself. And that's something they'll never forgive you for. Because deep down, they wish they had your strength. They wish they had the guts to walk away from the people who never truly loved them. They wish they had the courage to stand alone. But they don't. So instead, they hate you for doing what they never could. That's the way the world works, kid. Weak people hate strong ones. Lost people hate those who find their way. Miserable people hate those who escape. And the people you left behind, they fit all three. They're weak, they're lost, and they're miserable. And that's not your burden to carry anymore. So let them beg, let them cry. Let them pretend they suddenly care now that they've lost you. But don't you dare let them back in. Because if they loved you, truly loved you, they never would have risked losing you in the first place. And that's the real joke. You know what the funniest part is? They act like they never saw this coming. Like they never noticed the cracks forming. Like they weren't the ones holding the hammer, swinging away at you piece by piece, until all that remained was the hollow version of someone who used to believe in them. They act shocked, confused, wounded, like they had no idea you were breaking while they kept taking. Like they never felt you slowly slipping away every time they ignored your pain, every time they dismissed your silence, every time they made you feel like an afterthought in a story you used to be the main character in. But deep down, oh, deep down, they knew. They felt the shift. They felt the distance growing, but they did nothing. They just assumed you would stay. They counted on it. They thought you'd never be strong enough to leave, never be brave enough to choose yourself over them. And that's what kills them. Not losing you. No, no, no. But realizing that you had the power to leave all along. Realizing that the control they thought they had was nothing but an illusion. Realizing that while they spent all their time convincing you that you were nothing without them, it turns out they were nothing without you. That's what's tearing them apart. That's what's keeping them up at night. The simple, undeniable truth that they needed you more than you ever needed them. Because now they have to face themselves. And that's something they've never been able to do. They have to sit in the same silence they once left you in. They have to battle the same emptiness they forced upon you. They have to stare into the mirror and realize that all the things they blamed you for, it was always them. The problem was always them. But they'll never say that out loud. No, no, no. That would require accountability. And accountability, that's a language they never learned. So instead, they'll do what cowards always do. They'll rewrite the past. They'll erase the parts where they failed you. They'll conveniently forget the moments they made you feel like a stranger in their presence. They'll act like they were the ones who were hurt, like they were the ones who tried. And they'll tell that story to anyone who will listen, trying to drown out the one thing they can't escape, the truth. Because deep down, in the quietest parts of their mind, where no one is watching, they know. They know why you left. They know why you're never coming back. And they hate it. But here's what I need you to understand. None of that is your problem anymore. Their guilt, their regret, their desperate attempts to twist the narrative, that's their burden to carry now, not yours. You spent years carrying the weight of their selfishness, their neglect, their indifference. And look where it got you. Broken, exhausted, questioning yourself, asking if you were too much or not enough, wondering if maybe, just maybe, you were the problem all along. But let me make one thing very clear to you. You were never the problem. You were never too much. You were never asking for too much. You were just asking the wrong people. And now that you've stopped asking, now that you've turned your back, look at them. Look at how desperate they are. Look at how their confidence is crumbling, how their arrogance is fading. Look at how suddenly they're remembering all the things they should have done, all the words they should have said. Look at how they're scrambling, searching for a way back in. But it's too late. It's too damn late. Because you're not the same person anymore. You're not that broken, dependent version of yourself that used to beg for their love. You're not that naive soul who believed their lies, who excused their silence, who clung to the idea that one day, They would wake up and see your worth. That person is gone, and in their place, you, the real you, the one who doesn't beg, the one who doesn't wait, the one who finally understands that walking away wasn't just an option. It was the only way to survive. So let them beg. Let them cry. Let them feel the emptiness they once made you drown in. But don't you dare look back, because the second you do, the second you let them think they still have a place in your life, you give them power again. And if there's one thing they don't deserve anymore, it's power over you. They had their chance. They had every chance, and they chose to take you for granted. They chose to act like you'd always be there. They chose to risk losing you. And now they get to live with the consequences. And you get to walk away knowing you never needed them. You just needed to believe in yourself enough to finally let go. That's the truth. That's the joke. And oh, what a joke it is. But you know what's really interesting about all of this? It's not just that they lost you. No, losing you was just the beginning of their downfall. What's really eating them alive is watching you rise without them. Watching you become something they never thought you could be. Because you see, people like that, they never actually expect you to grow. They never expect you to move on, to evolve, to outgrow them. They expect you to stay stuck, to stay broken, to need them. That's what fuels their arrogance. That's what makes them feel powerful. The belief that no matter what they did, no matter how badly they treated you, no matter how much they neglected you, you would always be waiting, always be hoping, always be just one apology away from crawling back. But now they're realizing just how badly they miscalculated. Now they're realizing that while they were busy playing games, while they were busy making you feel small, while they were busy treating you like an option, you were changing. You were learning. You were building yourself back up. And that terrifies them, because if there's one thing they can't handle, it's the sight of you becoming everything they said you couldn't be. It's the realization that they never actually broke you, that they never had as much control over you as they thought they did. And now they have to live with the fact that they are no longer relevant in your story. Think about that. Think about how much of their identity was wrapped up in the idea that you needed them. How much of their confidence came from the belief that you were dependent on their approval. And now, with every step you take, with every victory you claim, with every moment you thrive without them, they are watching their own delusion fall apart. And there's nothing they can do about it. They're choking on the same silence they once forced upon you. They're feeling the same emptiness they once left you drowning in. And it's poetic, isn't it? How the very things they inflicted on you are now becoming their own reality. How they're now experiencing the same rejection, the same neglect, the same abandonment they once made you feel. But the difference? You survived it. You endured it. You walked through that fire and came out stronger. But them? They're not built like you. They don't have your resilience. They don't have your strength. They don't have what it takes to survive the consequences of their own actions. And now they're desperate. But not because they love you. Not because they finally understand your worth. No, no, no. It's because they miss the control. They miss the power they once had over you. They miss being able to manipulate your emotions, to make you feel guilty, to make you question yourself. And now that they can't, now that they're powerless, they don't know what to do with themselves. So they'll try everything. They'll send messages dripping with nostalgia, hoping you'll bite. They'll play the victim, hoping you'll feel guilty. They'll pretend to have changed, hoping you'll give them another chance. But it's all an act. It's all a desperate attempt to reverse the damage they did to themselves, because they thought they were hurting you when they left. They thought they were punishing you when they treated you like an afterthought. But all they did was set you free. All they did was push you toward the version of yourself that no longer needs them. And that is a truth they will never be able to accept, because it means admitting that they lost you by their own hand. It means facing the fact that they are the reason for their own suffering. And people like that, they would rather live in denial. They would rather cling to their lies than face the reality that you're gone and you're never coming back. So let them beg, let them cry, let them waste away in the emptiness they created for themselves. But don't you dare look back, because the second you do, the second you even entertain the idea of letting them back in, you give them exactly what they want. Another chance to break you, another chance to control you, another chance to rewrite the past and make you forget the hell they put you through. But you won't forget. You can't forget, because that pain, that suffering, that long, lonely road you had to walk alone, it built you. It turned you into something they never saw coming. It made you unstoppable. And that is something they will never be able to handle. And so let them watch. Let them feel the weight of their mistakes. Let them sit in the ruins of everything they destroyed with their own hands. But you keep going. You keep rising. You keep proving with every breath, with every step, with every damn victory, that you were never the weak one. They were. Because they needed to control you to feel strong. They needed to break you to feel whole. But you never needed them at all. And now they know it. And that is their punishment. And now the silence is eating them alive. That same silence they once left you in, that same silence they forced upon you while you sat there. waiting for them to care, waiting for them to choose you, waiting for them to show you even the slightest bit of remorse. But they never did they? No. They let you drown. They watched you sink deeper and deeper, gasping for air, reaching out for something, anything to hold on to. And instead of saving you, instead of throwing you a lifeline, they turned their backs. They walked away without hesitation, without a second thought, because in their mind, you were always going to be there. You were always going to wait. You were always going to be the one who loved more, who tried harder, who forgave faster. That's what they counted on. But now they're the ones drowning. Now they're the ones reaching out, grasping at the air, hoping, praying that you'll turn around, that you'll give them another chance, that you'll save them from the very emptiness they once abandoned you in. And isn't it poetic? Isn't it almost tragic how they never understood your value until it was too late, until you had nothing left to give, until you became the version of yourself that no longer has space for them? That's the part they can't accept. Not just that you left, not just that you're moving on, but that you're doing it without them. That you've finally learned to breathe without them. That you're thriving in a world they swore you wouldn't survive in. They used to tell themselves that you were nothing without them, that you needed them, that you were weak, fragile, incapable of standing on your own. But now they're choking on their own words. Because you're standing taller than ever. You're stronger than they've ever been. And they're falling apart. Because here's what weak people never realize. The strongest ones are always the ones who have been abandoned. The strongest ones are always the ones who have suffered alone, who have learned to fight battles no one even knew they were fighting. And you fought wars inside your own mind. You rebuilt yourself from the ashes they left you in. You crawled through hell with no one there to pull you out. And now you walk like someone who knows they will never be destroyed again. That's what scares them the most. Not just that they lost you, but that you don't even miss them, that you're not sitting around crying over the past, wishing they'd come back, waiting for an apology that will never come. No, you're done. You've closed the door. You've sealed it shut. And that terrifies them. Because it means they have to face the truth they spent so long running from. They were replaceable. They were never the reason for your survival. They were never your foundation. They were never your lifeline. They were just temporary. And now they get to live with the consequences of taking you for granted. Now they get to sit in the same loneliness they once left you in. Now they get to taste the same bitter emptiness they forced upon you. But unlike you, they won't survive it. They won't grow from it. They won't come out stronger because they were never built like you. They never had the resilience, the endurance, the heart that you have. And now they know it. So let them cry. Let them beg. Let them scream into the void, hoping you'll turn around, hoping you'll come back, hoping they still have some kind of hold on you. But don't. Don't you dare give them that satisfaction. Because the moment you do, the moment you let them back in, the moment you even entertain the idea of letting them have a second chance, you lose everything you fought for. You lose yourself. And that's the one thing you can never afford to lose again, because you're not that person anymore. You're not the one who waits. You're not the one who begs. You're not the one who bends over backwards for people who wouldn't even lift a finger for you. No, you've changed. You've evolved. You've grown into the kind of person who knows their worth, who knows what they deserve, who knows that sometimes the best revenge isn't anger, isn't bitterness, isn't hatred, but silence, success, moving on. So let them watch. Let them see what they lost. Let them feel every ounce of regret, every drop of shame, every wave of despair as they realized that they had everything and they threw it all away. Let them sit in their misery while you walk forward, head held high, knowing that you are finally free. Because that is the real victory. That is the real joke. And oh, what a joke it is. And now, the cold reality they never wanted to face is suffocating them. The truth they spent so long denying is clawing at their mind, scratching at their insides, sinking into their very existence like a slow, merciless poison. Because for the first time, they are seeing clearly. For the first time, they are realizing what they've done. And the weight of that realization, it's crushing them. Because it's not just that they lost you, it's that they lost the only person who ever truly cared. The only person who ever stood by them when they had nothing to offer. The only person who saw them at their worst and still tried to love them. And they destroyed that. They spit on that. They threw it away like it was nothing. And now they would give anything to take it back. But they can't. Because time doesn't work that way. Because some mistakes don't come with second chances. Because some people, no matter how much you beg, no matter how much you regret, never come back. And you are one of those people now. Because you're done. Done making excuses for people who never made an effort. Done waiting for apologies that were never coming. Done forgiving people who knew exactly what they were doing when they hurt you. You are done breaking yourself just to make others comfortable. You are done letting people treat you like an option while you treated them like a priority. You are done lowering your standards just to fit into places you were never meant to be in. And that's the difference now. That's why they are falling apart while you are rising. Because they still think love is a game. They still think relationships are about control. They still think people are disposable, that they can be mistreated, ignored, taken for granted, and then magically return the moment they feel like they need them again. But you You learned the truth. You learned the hard way that not everyone who claims to love you actually does. That not everyone who stays in your life deserves to be there. That sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is walk away and never look back. And that's what terrifies them, because they've seen you walk away before. But this time is different. This time, there is no anger, no outburst, no dramatic goodbye, just silence, just distance, just the quiet, undeniable reality that they no longer have a place in your life, that they no longer matter. And that is their greatest fear. Not just losing you, but becoming irrelevant to you, becoming just another name from your past, just another lesson learned, just another mistake you refuse to make again. They wanted you to suffer without them. They wanted you to break. They wanted you to sit in the dark, wondering if they would ever come back. But instead, you're shining. You're becoming everything they secretly wished they could be. You're proving with every single breath that you were never the weak one, that you were never the broken one, that you were never the one who needed saving. Because look at you now, standing taller, breathing easier, moving forward without hesitation. You are finally at peace, finally free, finally becoming the version of yourself that was buried under all that pain. And them? They are watching from a distance, feeling the one thing they never thought they'd feel when it came to you: regret. Regret that they didn't appreciate you. Regret that they didn't fight for you. Regret that they let their pride, their selfishness, their arrogance drive away the one person who would have never given up on them. But that regret, it belongs to them, not to you. You do not carry it. You do not hold on to it. You do not let it pull you back into the very place you fought so hard to escape from. Because you don't owe them anything. Not another chance. Not another conversation. Not even another thought. The only thing you owe is to yourself. To keep moving forward. To keep growing. To keep becoming the kind of person who will never again allow themselves to be treated like less than they are worth. And so now, they will have to live with it. They will have to sit with their choices, with their mistakes, with the loss they brought upon themselves. And you will keep walking. You will keep rising. You will keep proving day after day that you never needed them, that you never needed anyone to save you, that the only person who ever had the power to make or break you was yourself. And that is something they will never be able to take from you again. That is the final chapter of their story in your life. And that is the real ending. You feel that, don't you? That empty space in your chest. The one that used to be filled with their laughter, their words, their presence. Now it's just hollow, an echoing reminder of what once was. Funny, isn't it? How they never noticed your worth when you were right there, giving, sacrificing, breaking yourself to fit into their world. And now that you've pulled away, now that you've finally had enough, they're scrambling, clawing, desperate to get back in. Typical. They took you for granted. Every bit of effort, every piece of your soul you handed over, they treated it like air. Always there, always available, always expected. You could have been bleeding in front of them, and they would have still asked for more. They only saw what they could take, never what they had. And when someone is always there, when someone keeps showing up no matter how badly they're treated, people stop valuing them. That's the game. That's human nature. They assume you'll never leave. They assume you'll always be waiting. But you walked away. You chose yourself. And now, look at them. Lost, confused, drowning in their own regrets. The silence you left behind is suffocating them, isn't it? The absence of you burns more than your presence ever did. And here's the brutal truth. They don't miss you. Not really. They miss what you did for them. They miss the comfort you provided. They miss the stability you gave them. Because the world is cruel. And without you, they are forced to face it alone. They come back, not because they suddenly realized your worth, but because they can't handle the void. They thought you'd always be there. They thought you were weak. They mistook your kindness for weakness. They mistook your loyalty for stupidity. But now they see the truth, and it terrifies them. Let me tell you something. People never regret hurting you in the moment. They regret it when the consequences come knocking. When they wake up one day and realize no one is picking up their calls like you did. When they're drowning in their own misery and the lifeline they once had, you is nowhere to be found. That's when they regret it. That's when it hits them. But here's what you need to understand. Regret is not love. Missing you is not love. It's desperation. It's the panic of realizing they lost something irreplaceable. You see, people don't cherish what they can always have. They only value what they fear losing. And you, my dear, were never the problem. They were. They never deserved you to begin with. And yet, here they are, crawling back, saying all the right words, making all the right promises. But tell me this, where was all this effort when you were breaking inside? Where was this urgency when you needed them? Where was this regret when you were screaming inside, waiting for them to see you? Oh, but now they see you. Now they see you everywhere, in every empty space, in every moment of loneliness, in every laugh that doesn't sound quite as real as it did when you were around. They will search for you in every person they meet, but they will never find you. Because what you gave them, no one else can. And I know, deep down, there's a part of you that wants to believe them, that wants to take them back, that wants to hear them say, I was wrong. I see your worth now. But tell me this, why did it take losing you for them to see it? Love isn't about realizing someone's value when they're gone. Love is about never taking them for granted in the first place. Do you really think they've changed? Or do they just hate the consequences of their actions? Do they miss you? Or do they miss the way you made them feel? Look at their eyes. Do you see guilt? Or do you see fear? Fear that they lost their comfort. Fear that you won't play the game anymore. Fear that they now have to face the world without your strength. And now you stand at a crossroad. You can let them back in. You can go back to being the one who bends, the one who forgives, the one who allows them to take without ever giving. Or you can walk away for good. You can choose yourself this time. You can let them feel the full weight of their choices. Because trust me on this, nothing teaches people faster than loss. They won't learn their lesson if you keep cushioning the fall. They won't change if you keep giving them second chances. They won't respect you if they know you'll always take them back. Let them drown in the silence they created. Let them sit in the emptiness they brought upon themselves. Let them suffer the consequences of their own arrogance. You see, people like them. They never think about losing you until it's too late. They always assume you'll stay, no matter how badly they treat you. They believe you'll always be an option. So let them see what life is like without you. Let them feel the weight of every ignored message, every dismissed emotion, every moment they made you feel small. They took you for granted. Now they're desperate to return. But here's the final question. Do they deserve to? Because I think you already know the answer. Oh, but I know that doubt creeping in your mind, that little whisper telling you to reconsider, that tiny nagging voice saying maybe they've changed, maybe this time will be different. Maybe they finally see me. But let's be brutally honest here. If someone truly values you, truly respects you, they never put you in a position where you have to wonder. They never put you through the agony of questioning your own worth. They never make you beg for the bare minimum. And yet, here you are after everything, still entertaining the idea that they deserve another chance, that they deserve you. But let me ask you, how many times have you been here before? How many times did they leave, come back with the same rehearsed words, and then repeat the cycle all over again? Because that's what this is. A cycle, a pattern, a game where they always win and you always lose. They know exactly how to play you. They know exactly what words to use, what emotions to trigger, what memories to resurrect. They know how to reel you back in just enough to keep you on the hook, but never enough to truly value you. And the worst part? They don't even need to lie to you. They just let you lie to yourself. They let you fill in the blanks, let you believe in their changed behavior, let you convince yourself that this time is different. But deep down, you know the truth, don't you? You feel it, buried beneath the hope, beneath the longing. You know that the second you let them back in, the second you open that door, they'll slip right back into their old ways. Because that's who they are. Because they never changed. Because people don't change unless they have to. And you never made them face the full cost of losing you. You've always been there. Always willing to forgive. Always ready to believe in them one more time. And that's the problem. People only learn when they have no other choice. When the loss is permanent. When they have to wake up every day knowing that what they had is gone, not temporarily, not as a punishment, but forever. Only then do they understand. Only then do they truly regret. Only then do they feel the weight of what they destroyed. And even then, regret does not erase actions. Regret does not undo the past. Regret does not rebuild trust. It only reminds them of their own failures, their own selfishness, their own inability to hold on to something real. And you are not their lesson to learn. You are not their redemption story. You are not the prize at the end of their guilt trip. You are the one who suffered. You are the one who gave. You are the one who broke yourself trying to be enough for people who never deserved you in the first place. So tell me, what exactly do they deserve now? Another chance? Another opportunity to hurt you? Another invitation back into your life so they can repeat the cycle? No. What they deserve is silence. What they deserve is absence. What they deserve is to feel the full force of their actions without the comfort of knowing you'll still be there when they're done playing their games. They took you for granted. They assumed you would always be available. They thought your love, your care, your loyalty was infinite. They believed they could push you aside whenever it was convenient and pick you back up whenever they felt like it. And now they are drowning in the consequences of their arrogance. Now they are suffocating in the emptiness they created. Now they are desperate, scrambling, reaching for something that no longer belongs to them. But here's where you finally take control. Here's where you stop being their safety net. Here's where you let them sink. Because the truth is, they were never afraid of losing you. They were afraid of losing what you did for them. They were afraid of facing life without your strength, without your patience, without your unwavering support. They were never afraid of breaking you. They were only afraid of you realizing your own worth. And now that you have, they are terrified. Because they know they can't manipulate you anymore. They know they can't dangle empty words in front of you like bait. They know that this time, you're serious. And that scares them more than anything. Because you were their lifeline. You were their stability. You were the one they ran to when everything else failed. And now Now they have to face the reality of who they are without you. Now they have to sit in the mess they created. Now they have to learn, truly learn, what it means to lose something that can never be replaced. And that, my dear, is not your problem. That is not your burden to carry. That is theirs. So let them come crawling. Let them cry. Let them beg. Let them feel every ounce of the pain they so easily inflicted upon you. And then you walk away. Then you remind yourself of every sleepless night, every moment of doubt, every time you wondered if you were enough. Then you remember who you were before they made you question your worth. Then you remind yourself that you were never the one who lost anything. They were. Because the moment they took you for granted, they lost the one thing they will spend the rest of their lives searching for. And you finally found yourself. And that is worth more than anything they could ever offer. And now, in the silence you left behind, they rot. They sit in the darkness of their own making, tormented by memories of you, your voice, your presence, your unwavering loyalty. They replay every moment, every conversation, every time they dismissed you with indifference, and it eats them alive. They stare at their phone, debating whether to type another apology, another desperate plea, another lie disguised as sincerity. But deep down, they know. They know the damage has been done. They know the bridge has been burned. They know that no matter how many words they spill, they can never undo the truth. And the truth is this: you were the best thing that ever happened to them. And they threw it away like it was nothing. They mistook your patience for weakness. They mistook your silence for submission. They mistook your love for something disposable. But love, real love, is not disposable. And neither are you. And you see it now, don't you? The cycle, the manipulation, the way they dangled just enough hope in front of you to keep you on the hook, but never enough to truly change. They never feared losing you, because you never truly left. You walked away before, but you always looked back. You always left the door open just enough for them to slide back in, and they knew it. They counted on it. But this time is different. This time, you are no longer waiting on the other side. This time, you are not checking your phone, not hoping for an apology, not sitting in a pool of your own regrets, wondering if you made the right choice. This time, the only regret belongs to them. And that is a weight they will carry for the rest of their lives. But don't mistake their regret for love. Don't mistake their apologies for change. People don't suddenly grow a conscience when they lose you. They only realize the value of what they had when they are forced to live without it. That's not love. That's loss. That's the sharp sting of knowing they ruined something irreplaceable. That's the crushing weight of realizing that they had something real, something rare, something others search for their entire lives, and they destroyed it with their own hands. And that's the thing about regret. It doesn't heal. It doesn't erase. It doesn't fix what's been broken. It just lingers, a constant reminder of the mistakes they can never undo. And while they drown in their own guilt, you rise. While they sit in the wreckage of their own destruction, you rebuild. While they look for you in every empty space, in every fleeting moment of nostalgia, in every face they meet, you move forward. Because you finally understand you were never the one who lost anything. They were. They were the ones who took you for granted. They were the ones who assumed you'd always be there. They were the ones who gambled with your heart and lost. And now they have to live with the consequences of their arrogance. Now they have to sit in the absence they created. Now they have to face the brutal truth that you were never weak, never desperate, never disposable. You were the light they chose to dim. You were the warmth they chose to neglect. You were the home they chose to abandon. And now they are homeless. Let them sit in that. Let them feel the weight of their own choices. Let them choke on the silence they once forced upon you. Let them drown in the regret they created. Because this time, you are not coming back. This time, you are not giving them another chance to break you. This time, you are choosing yourself. And that is the most powerful thing you will ever do. Because love is not about how much pain you can endure for someone. Love is not about how many times you can forgive someone who repeatedly destroys you. Love is about respect. Love is about effort. Love is about never having to beg for the bare minimum. And if they could not see your worth when you were standing right in front of them, they do not deserve to search for it now that you are gone. So let them miss you. Let them ache. Let them regret. Let them sit in the reality they never thought they would face, because they assumed they had time. They assumed you would always be there. They assumed that no matter how many times they hurt you, no matter how many times they ignored your worth, you would still be waiting. But the truth is that you were never waiting. You were only hoping. And hope dies the moment you realize that some people will never change, no matter how much you love them. Hope dies when you understand that no matter how much you gave, no matter how much you tried, some people will always take you for granted until you walk away for good. And now, the only thing left for them to hold on to is the memory of you, the ghost of your kindness, the shadow of your presence, the sound of your name echoing in the void they created. And that is their punishment. Not your anger, not your revenge, not your words. No, their punishment is the absence of you. Their punishment is waking up every day knowing that they had something rare, something beautiful, something real, and they let it slip through their fingers. And you are finally free. Free from the cycle. Free from the pain. Free from the endless waiting, the endless hoping, the endless suffering. So walk away, not with bitterness, not with hatred, but with the quiet, unshakable knowledge that you were never the fool. They were. They were the ones who played a game they could never win. They were the ones who took a priceless gift and treated it like nothing. They were the ones who thought they could always come back. But this time, the door is closed. This time, the chapter is over. This time, you are no longer theirs to take for granted. And that is the sweetest justice of all. And as you walk further away, step by step, there's something else you need to understand. This isn't just about them. It's about you, about the way you used to lower yourself, just to be enough for people who never even deserved a glimpse of your soul, about the way you used to shrink your heart, soften your words, dim your light, just so they could feel comfortable standing next to you. You were bending so much, breaking so often, that you forgot what it felt like to stand tall. You forgot what it meant to put yourself first. You were so used to choosing others over yourself that when someone finally asked you what you needed, you didn't even know how to answer. That's what happens when you love too hard in a world that only knows how to take. That's what happens when you give people a home inside of you and they bring fire with them. And even now, even after all they did, part of you still blames yourself, doesn't it? That small, broken part still whispers, maybe you weren't enough. Maybe you were too much. Maybe you were the problem. But listen to me, and listen hard. You were not the problem. You were the blessing they couldn't hold. You were the rare kind of soul that pours love into the cracks of others without asking for anything in return. And they saw that. Oh, they saw it. And they used it. Because people like them, they don't love, they feed. They feed off the warmth of people like you. They take and take and take until there's nothing left. And then they walk away as if you were the one who failed. But not anymore. Now, you're awake. Now, you see through the lies, through the fake apologies, through the cycles, through the toxic nostalgia they try to weaponize just to pull you back in. Because that's their last trick, isn't it? When everything else fails, they reach for the past. They remind you of old laughs, old smiles, old memories. They try to paint over the pain with moments of happiness. But memories don't erase the scars. They don't undo the nights you cried yourself to sleep. They don't change the way they made you feel invisible, unworthy, replaceable. They don't heal the wounds. They only hide them. And you've bled enough for people who couldn't even hand you a bandage. And now they sit in the silence. Now they watch as you grow without them. As you build a world they'll never have access to. As you glow in ways they never thought you could. And that kills them more than anything. Not because they love you, but because they lost control. You were their mirror. You reflected back the best version of themselves. And without you, they are forced to see the truth of who they really are. Broken, selfish, incapable of love that doesn't revolve around themselves. And you were too pure for that kind of poison, too loyal for that kind of betrayal, too real for people who wear masks just to survive the day. They will tell themselves it was just bad timing, that they didn't know better, that if they had one more chance, things would be different. But all of that is noise. Excuses dressed up as regrets. Truth is, they knew. They knew. They knew how much you cared. They knew you were hurting. They knew they were breaking you piece by piece, but they did it anyway. Why? Because they were sure you'd stay. They were sure you'd never walk away. And now, they're left with the one thing they never expected. Your silence. That silence, that's louder than any goodbye, louder than any argument, louder than any breakdown. Because silence means you're done explaining, done begging, done trying to prove your worth to people who never saw it. And silence, my friend, is power. It's peace. It's healing. It's standing in front of the ruins, not crying anymore, but building something stronger. And in that silence, you begin to hear something else, your own voice, the voice that was drowned for so long under the noise of pleasing others. The voice that was silenced every time you made yourself small for someone else's comfort. And now that your voice is back, you'll never let it be silenced again. Now that you've remembered your worth, you'll never trade it for temporary comfort. You'll never let someone walk in and out of your life like it's a hotel room. You'll never settle for halfway love, because you've seen the dark. You've felt the pain. You've been at rock bottom, loving people who wouldn't even bother to check if you were okay. And that changed you. That rebuilt you. That turned your wounds into warnings. That turned your heartbreak into armor. So when they come back, and they will, they'll find someone unrecognizable. Not because you've become cold, but because you've become wise. You've become someone who understands that love without respect is manipulation. That effort without consistency is a lie. That apologies without change are just noise. They'll come back expecting the same version of you, the one who forgave too easily, who held on too long, who gave everything just to feel something. But that person is gone, buried under every tear, every silence, every moment of heartbreak they caused. And what stands in their place now is someone dangerous, someone who knows their worth, Someone who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't settle. Someone who's turned every piece of pain into power. Someone who understands that losing people who never valued you is not a loss. It's a rescue, a freedom, a clean slate. So when they knock, let them knock. Let them cry. Let them scream. Let them burn in the fire they lit themselves. Because you're done being the firewood. You are the flame now. They'll call it growth when it's convenient for them. They'll say they've changed, that they've evolved, that losing you was a wake-up call. But deep down, you know better. You know when someone changes for survival and when someone changes because they finally found truth. And what they're doing now isn't healing. It's panic. It's fear, disguised as reflection. It's desperation, wearing the mask of remorse. Because real change, it's quiet. It's consistent. It's proven through actions, not performed through words. And what they're doing is not for you. It's for themselves. It's so they can sleep better at night. So they can say, I tried. So they can clear their conscience while still carrying the same poison in their soul. But you know this game. You've watched it play out before. You've seen them spin words like silk and use them to bind your heart again and again. They want access to you without earning it. They want your warmth without the fire. They want the love without the responsibility. Because for them, you were convenience dressed as devotion. They didn't appreciate your consistency, they exploited it. They didn't cherish your vulnerability, they consumed it. And now that you've rebuilt yourself from the rubble they left behind, now that you've closed the doors they used to walk through like royalty, now they're outside, shivering in a world that doesn't revolve around their comfort. And you're finally not answering. And that silence, it's not just strength, it's sacred. See, they thought love was a guarantee. They thought someone like you comes around often, but real ones don't. Real loyalty doesn't come twice. Real love doesn't knock on the same door over and over when it's been ignored, disrespected, and shattered. You were the once-in-a-lifetime blessing they weren't equipped to handle. You were the rare soul that only broken people recognize after they've done too much damage. And that's the truth. They now carry like chains around their neck, that they had someone pure, someone real, someone who gave without keeping score, and they lost it. Not because of bad timing, not because of misunderstandings, but because of their own carelessness, their ego, their pride, their inability to love without taking. And now, every time they laugh, it won't be full. Every time they're held, it won't feel right. Every time someone looks at them with admiration, they'll think of you and how you used to look at them like they were worth the world, even when they were destroying yours. That's what they lost. Not just your presence, but the version of themselves that only existed when they were with you. You made them better, and they threw that version away for temporary satisfaction. And now they're left with themselves, raw, unloved, and they'll try to replace you. Oh, they'll try. They'll go through bodies, voices, laughs. They'll chase the echo of you in 1,000 empty places. But nothing will hit the same. Nothing will feel real. Because once someone's tasted real, everything fake leaves them starving. And don't get it twisted. They'll never admit it. They'll never sit across from someone and say, I had someone who loved me like no one else, and I destroyed it. No, they'll spin the story. They'll make themselves the victim. They'll paint you as cold, distant, unforgiving, because it's easier to lie than to live with the truth. It's easier to blame you than to accept that they are the villain in their own story. And people like them, they'll rewrite history just to avoid accountability. Let them twist it, let them run, because you know the truth, and more importantly, they know the truth deep in their bones when the world is quiet, when they're alone, when the masks are off and the noise is gone. That's when the truth screams the loudest. And that's when they'll realize they didn't just lose a person. They lost a sanctuary, a safe space, a love that didn't ask for perfection, a presence that didn't demand anything but honesty and consistency. And they couldn't even give that. They fumbled something most people search for their entire lives, and now they are condemned to a lifetime of almosts. Of what ifs, of staring at your old photos and wondering how they could have been so blind. That's their curse. That's the weight they carry. And you're no longer carrying anything for them. So when they come back, and they will, with shaking hands and empty words, trying to dress their guilt as growth, don't open the door. Don't give them the comfort of your kindness. Don't give them the reward of your healing. Because the one who breaks you doesn't deserve to watch you rebuild. The one who walked away from the fire doesn't get to sit by the warmth you created from your own ashes. Let them watch from a distance. Let them learn that some mistakes are permanent, that some bridges, when burned, don't get rebuilt. They become graveyards. Let them learn that losing you wasn't a chapter in their story. It was the end. Because you were never a pit stop. You were never someone to come back to. You were the final destination. And they left. And now they're just another ghost begging for a place in a life they no longer belong to. Let them haunt themselves. Let them choke on every memory. Let them feel every ounce of the love they lost. And you walk forward, tall, cold, unapologetic, because now you know being taken for granted once is their mistake. Letting it happen twice would be yours, and you're done being anyone's mistake. You want to know why people fear the unknown? Because they can't control it, can't predict it. And when they can't predict something, they feel weak. You see, most people walk around thinking they have life figured out. They think they can read others, put them in little boxes: weak, strong, loser, winner. All those cute little labels they slap on people to make sense of their dull, pathetic lives. But the moment they can't read someone, the moment they can't tell what's going on behind those dead, tired eyes, oh, that's when the fear kicks in. That's when their hands start shaking. That's when they realize they ain't in control. They want you to be predictable, to react the way they expect. They want to push a button and get a reaction: anger, sadness, fear. But what happens when they push and nothing happens? When you don't flinch, when you don't beg, when you don't let them see what's inside? That, my friend, is power. You want to be feared? Stop being readable. Stop letting them see what makes you tick. Become a black hole. Something they can't define. Something they can't understand. Because people don't fear monsters. No. No, no. They fear uncertainty. You ever wonder why the world is terrified of silence? Why people drown themselves in noise and distractions, in the endless nonsense of everyday life? Because silence means facing yourself. It means peeling away the layers and looking at what's underneath. And trust me, most people, they don't want to see that. They're scared of their own reflection. But you have to embrace it. You have to sit in the silence until it no longer scares you. Because when the world is loud and you remain quiet, they start asking questions. They start second guessing. And that's when you become dangerous. You see, most people have an equation for life. They think if they follow certain steps, they'll get certain results. Be nice, people like you. Work hard, you succeed. Love someone, they stay. Cute, isn't it? A little fairy tale world where everything is fair, where effort equals reward. But let me tell you something. The world, it doesn't work that way. You could bleed your soul out for people, and they'll still throw you away the second you stop being useful. You could work your hands to the bone, and someone with half your talent but twice your connections will take what you earned. You could love someone with every inch of your existence, and they'll walk away like you were never even there. The problem isn't that the world is unfair. The problem is that you expect it to be fair. That's your mistake. That's why you're hurt. That's why you're angry. You keep thinking there's a logic to this game, but there isn't. The only rule is there are no rules. And you know what that means? It means you stop waiting for fairness. Stop expecting things to make sense. Stop looking for justice in a place where power is the only language people understand. You don't beg for respect. You command it. You don't ask for a place at the table. You take the whole damn table and set it on fire if you have to. Because the moment you stop playing by their rules, they start playing by yours. You ever notice how people only respect what they fear losing? You show them kindness, they see weakness. You show them mercy, they see opportunity. You let them in, they take everything. But the moment you become untouchable, the moment they don't know what you're thinking, what you're feeling, that's when they start watching their step. That's when they hesitate before saying your name. That's when they start treating you like something not to be messed with. But here's the thing. They won't fear you just because you say you're strong. No, no, no. People only believe what they see. So what do they see when they look at you? A man in control? Or a man waiting? Waiting for permission, waiting for approval, waiting for someone to notice? If you want them to fear you, you gotta stop waiting. Stop hoping people will see your worth. Stop wishing for a day when they'll understand. That day isn't coming. No one's gonna wake up and suddenly give you the respect you deserve. You either take it or you die waiting for it. You want an example? Look at history. Look at every man who changed the world. You think they were loved? No. They were feared. Not because they were violent, not because they were cruel, but because they weren't readable. They didn't move like the rest. They didn't need validation. They walked alone, and the world had no choice but to follow. Let me tell you something about pain. People think it makes them weak, makes them damaged. But pain is the greatest weapon you will ever own. It sharpens you. It breaks you down and rebuilds you into something stronger. The only question is, do you let it consume you, or do you use it? Most people run from their pain. They bury it under distractions, addictions, meaningless relationships. But you take that pain, you hold it close, and you listen to what it's trying to teach you. Because pain is the only thing in this world that doesn't lie. It doesn't pretend. It tells you the truth about people, the truth about yourself, the truth about how this world really works. So the next time you feel like you're breaking, like the weight is too much, like the world is trying to crush you under its heel, you laugh. You laugh because you know something they don't. You know that every ounce of pain they throw at you, it's making you stronger. And one day, when they look at you and realize they can't break you, can't control you, can't read you, that's the day they start fearing you. And when they fear you, you win. You know why people follow the rules? Because they're afraid of what happens when they don't. Not because they believe in them. Not because they think it's the right thing to do. No, no, no. They follow because they're scared of what's outside the lines. But here's the trick. Those lines, they don't exist. They're made up. A little illusion someone created a long time ago to keep the weak in check, to keep the sheep walking in a straight line while the wolves roam free. And you're sitting there, frustrated, angry, looking around at a world that never plays fair, never gives you a break. But tell me, why are you still playing? Why are you still waiting for permission? Why are you still acting like there are rules to this? They tell you to be good. They tell you to be patient, to be kind, to be understanding. But the second you expect the same from them, they turn their backs. The second you show weakness, they eat you alive. The second you ask for fairness, they laugh in your face. And yet, you still listen. You still believe in their little fairy tales. Still think if you just hold on a little longer, if you just suffer quietly, one day it'll all turn around. But that day is never coming. Because the people who win in this world, they don't wait for the game to be fair. They change the game. They rewrite the rules. They don't sit in the corner hoping someone will finally recognize their worth. They become something that demands recognition, and not through words, not through begging, through presence, through action, through becoming something so unpredictable, so untouchable, that the world has no choice but to watch. You ever notice how the strongest men are always the quiet ones? The ones who don't speak unless they have something worth saying? That's not a coincidence. That's not luck. That's power. Because people fear what they don't understand. And when you stop making it easy for them, when you stop letting them in, stop showing them your every move, they panic. Because now they don't know how to handle you. And when people don't know how to handle something, they either worship it or they fear it. And between the two, which one do you think keeps you safe? Because let me tell you something, kid. Kindness won't save you. Love won't save you. Being a good person won't save you. Not in this world. The only thing that saves you is being someone they can't touch. Not physically, not emotionally, not mentally. You have to become something beyond their reach. Something they look at and say, I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what he's feeling. And that scares the hell out of me. And I know what you're thinking. But I don't want to lose myself. I don't want to become cold. I don't want to shut myself off. That's the lie they've sold you. That if you stop showing your heart to everyone, you'll lose it. But let me ask you something. When you showed them your heart, what did they do with it? Did they protect it? Did they cherish it? Or did they rip it apart, piece by piece, until there was nothing left but regret? The truth is, keeping your heart safe isn't the same as losing it. You don't lose yourself by keeping them out. You lose yourself by letting them in, by handing them a map to all your weaknesses and hoping they'll be kind enough not to use it. And that's a fool's game. Because sooner or later someone will use it. You ever see a man who's been through hell and come back? You ever look into his eyes? They're different. There's something in them that wasn't there before. An emptiness, a depth, a silence that speaks louder than words ever could. That's not weakness. That's not a broken man. That's a man who's learned. A man who's seen the truth. A man who understands that the only way to survive in a world that feeds on the weak is to stop being weak. So I ask you again, what do they see when they look at you? A man still waiting for life to be fair? A man still hoping for an apology that will never come? A man still trying to prove his worth to people who never deserved him in the first place? Or do they see something else? Do they see someone who no longer needs their approval? Someone who doesn't react, doesn't flinch, doesn't care what they think? Because when they see that, that's when they start fearing you. That's when they hesitate before speaking your name. That's when they know they can't touch you anymore. And when they can't touch you, you win. So go ahead. Keep waiting. Keep hoping. Keep playing by their rules. See how far that gets you. But one day, you'll wake up and realize you wasted your life waiting for a fairness that never existed. By then, it'll be too late. Or you can wake up now. You can stop waiting. You can stop hoping. You can stop being a pawn in someone else's game and start making the rules yourself. Because in the end, there are two types of people in this world. The ones who follow and the ones who are followed. The ones who beg and the ones who command. The ones who are read like an open book. And the ones who are feared because no one can figure them out. So which one are you? I already know the answer. The real question is, do you? You're still sitting there thinking, pondering. I can see it in your eyes. You want to believe what I'm saying, but something inside you is still holding on. Holding on to that last thread of hope that maybe, just maybe, the world isn't as cruel as I say it is. That maybe if you just try a little harder, be a little better, things will change. That's cute. It really is. But let me break something to you. Hope is the most dangerous illusion ever created. They sell it to you like a drug, get you addicted to it, tell you to just keep going, just keep believing, and everything will fall into place. But hope is a trick, a scam, a leash they put around your neck to keep you tame. Because as long as you hope, you stay waiting. Waiting for justice. Waiting for things to make sense. Waiting for people to realize what they did to you. But tell me, how long have you been waiting? How many nights have you stayed up thinking about how unfair it all is? How many times have you convinced yourself maybe tomorrow will be different? But it never is it? Because the truth is, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is waking up thinking about how to fix what they broke inside you. You think they're losing sleep over you? You think they feel guilty? No, they moved on. They're laughing, living, forgetting, And you're stuck. You're still hoping. But let me ask you, what happens when you take hope away? What's left? Reality. And reality is cold. It doesn't care about fairness, doesn't care about your feelings, doesn't care about what you deserve. It only cares about one thing: who owns it. And right now, you're owned. Owned by the past. Owned by memories. Owned by the weight of what they did to you. You're still reacting, still hurting, still proving, still trying to make sense of something that never will. But when you let that go, when you kill the need for fairness, for closure, for anything outside of yourself, that's when you become dangerous. Because when they can't read you, when they don't know what's inside your head, when they look at you and see a man who no longer needs them, that's when the power shifts. That's when you stop being the victim and start being something they fear. But to get there, you have to let everything go. The anger, the regret, the idea that they owe you something, because they don't, and they never will. And that's your first lesson in taking control. Control. Funny word, isn't it? People throw it around like it means something. Control yourself. Control your emotions. Control your life. But the truth is, control isn't about holding on. It's about letting go. Letting go of the need for revenge. Letting go of the idea that things will ever be different. Letting go of the person you used to be so you can become the person you were meant to be. And most people, they can't do it. They can't let go. Because letting go means admitting the truth. And the truth is that nobody is watching out for you. Nobody is going to fix you. Nobody is going to give you the life you want. You either take it or you stay here in this endless loop of waiting, hurting, hoping. So tell me, which one is it? You want to be feared? You want to be respected? Then stop being understood. Stop explaining yourself. Stop letting them know how you feel. Stop giving them access to your soul like it's some kind of open door policy. You think silence is weakness? You think being unreadable makes you alone? No, it makes you free. Because the less they know, the more they assume. And when people start assuming, they start fearing. Fear, now that's real power. Not anger, not hate, fear. Because fear doesn't just make people respect you. It makes them careful. It makes them hesitate. It makes them wonder. And that hesitation, that moment of doubt before they decide to cross you, that's what keeps you safe. That's what makes the difference between being used and being untouchable. You think I'm wrong? Look around. Look at the people who run this world. Look at the ones who are untouchable, unbreakable. Do they beg for respect? Do they ask for fairness? No. They take what they want, and the world adjusts to them, because they don't explain. They don't react. They don't let the world inside their head. And the second you master that, the second you stop caring what they think, what they expect, what they assume about you, that's when you become something they fear. So go ahead, keep playing their game. Keep showing your cards, letting them see every thought, every feeling, every weakness. See where that gets you. But don't come crying when they break you again. When they take what little is left and toss it aside like it was nothing. Because you let them in, because you let them read you. Or you can stop right here, right now. You can choose to let them wonder, let them doubt, let them fear the unknown that is you. And when they do, when they look at you and don't know what's going on behind your eyes, what you're thinking, what you might do, that's when you'll know you've finally won. You know what the worst part is? The thing that makes most people break? It's not the pain. It's not the betrayal. It's not even the loneliness. No, no, no. It's the realization. The moment it finally clicks that everything they believed in was a lie, that all those times they were told to be patient, to be kind, to be understanding, it was all just a trick to keep them weak. That's the real breaking point. Not when the knife goes in, not when the people they trusted turn their backs, not when they're standing alone in the wreckage of everything they used to believe in. The real pain, the real suffering, it's when they look in the mirror and realize they spent their whole life playing the wrong game. And the ones who can't handle it, they go numb, they shut down, they let the world win. They sink into distractions, into meaningless routines, trying to forget that everything they once lived for was a joke. They try to unsee the truth. But the ones who can handle it, oh, they become something else. They become the thing the world wasn't prepared for. Because when a man has nothing left to believe in, when he finally stops searching for meaning, for justice, for love, he becomes free. And a free man, that's the most dangerous thing in the world. Because he doesn't play by the rules. He doesn't react the way they expect. He doesn't flinch. And that, my friend, is power. You ever wonder why the most feared men are always the ones who don't say much? Why people talk about them in whispers? Why even their enemies step carefully? It's not because they're the strongest, not because they're the smartest. It's because they don't show their hand. They don't let the world see what's inside. Because the moment they do, the moment they start explaining themselves, defending themselves, trying to make people understand, they lose. Because understanding breeds comfort. And comfort, that kills fear. But when people don't understand you, when they can't tell what you're thinking, can't predict your next move, that's when they fear you. That's when they respect you. That's when they start treating you like something real. And the sad part? Most people will never get this. They'll keep explaining themselves, keep justifying their choices, keep hoping that if they just say the right words, the world will finally understand them. But the truth, the world doesn't want to understand you. It wants to define you. It wants to put you in a box, slap a label on you, make you easy to categorize. And the second you let them do that, the second you give them an answer, a definition, a reason, you've lost. Because now they know you. Now they own you. But what happens when they can't? What happens when every time they think they've figured you out, you slip through their fingers? What happens when they push and you never react the way they expect? I'll tell you what happens. They get scared. Because people don't fear monsters. They don't fear violence. They don't fear cruelty. No. They fear uncertainty. They fear the unknown. They fear the man who walks into a room and makes the whole world hesitate. And that's the goal. Not to be liked, not to be loved, not to be understood, but to be something that makes the world think twice before speaking your name. But that won't happen if you keep doing what you're doing. If you keep explaining yourself. If you keep letting people inside. If you keep making it easy for them to read you. Because the moment they read you, they control you. They know what hurts you. They know what motivates you. They know exactly which buttons to push to get the reaction they want. And that's a weakness you can't afford. So tell me, how much longer are you going to keep giving them the map to your soul? How much longer are you going to keep handing them the knife and hoping they don't use it? How much longer are you going to keep waiting for people to treat you the way you treat them? Because let me tell you something. That day isn't coming. The people who hurt you, they don't feel guilty. The ones who left you, they don't regret it. The ones who used you, they sleep just fine at night. And you're the one carrying it. You're the one waking up every morning wondering what you did wrong. But here's the truth. You didn't do anything wrong. You just expected the world to be something it's not. You thought if you played by the rules, you'd win. But the rules were never meant to help you. They were meant to control you, to keep you predictable, to keep you weak. But now you know the truth. Now you see the game for what it really is. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to keep waiting, keep hoping, keep explaining? Or are you going to make sure the next time they look at you, they hesitate? Because when they hesitate, you win. And yet, even now, I can see the doubt creeping in. That little voice in the back of your head whispering, but I don't want to lose myself. Ah, yes. That's the final leash they keep on you. The fear that if you become unreadable, untouchable, unbreakable, you'll somehow stop being you. But let me ask you something. What exactly are you so afraid of losing? The part of you that forgave too easily? The part of you that trusted too much? The part of you that let people in, only to watch them tear you apart from the inside? That version of you wasn't you. It was a script someone else wrote for you, a version of yourself designed to be used, to be controlled, to be kept small, and yet you still hold on to it because it's familiar, because it's comfortable, because if you let it go, if you step into the unknown, you won't recognize yourself anymore. But let me tell you a secret. You don't want to recognize yourself. You want to become something so different, so far from the person they used to manipulate, that when they see you again, they won't even know who they're looking at. You want them to stare into your eyes and realize that whatever weakness, whatever softness, whatever access they once had to you is gone. Because that's when the fear sets in. That's when they start questioning every decision they ever made regarding you. That's when they start realizing that maybe, just maybe, they should have treated you differently. But by then, it's too late. Because the version of you they used to know, he's dead. And the one that stands in his place, he doesn't care anymore, not about their regrets, not about their apologies, not about their excuses, because he doesn't need them. And nothing terrifies a person more than realizing they no longer have power over someone they once controlled. You ever wonder why people always come back the moment you stop caring? Why they start trying to reach you when you've already moved on? It's because the moment they realize they can't read you anymore, they panic. They start searching for a way back in, trying to find the weak spots they used to exploit. But you don't let them. You never let them. Because the second you do, the second you entertain their games, their guilt, their fake remorse, they win. And you're right back where you started. You think strength is about being the loudest in the room? About proving yourself to everyone who ever doubted you? No. Strength is silence. Strength is sitting back and watching them try to figure you out and giving them nothing. Strength is looking into their eyes, seeing their desperation, their fear of the unknown that you've become, and saying nothing at all. Because the truth is, people aren't afraid of what they see. They're afraid of what they can't. And when you become unreadable, when you stop reacting, when you stop needing their validation, you stop being a person in their story. You become a force. Something they can't define, something they can't manipulate, something they can't touch. And that is what separates the ones who are controlled from the ones who are feared. But that choice is yours. You can keep explaining yourself. Keep showing your cards. Keep letting them know exactly what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what they did to you. Or you can stop. You can step into the silence, into the uncertainty, and let them wonder. Because the moment they start wondering, the moment they start doubting, the moment they start hesitating, that's when you win. Because in the end, the ones who win, they're not the strongest. not the smartest, not the kindest. They're the ones who can't be read. And that's where most people fail. Not because they're weak, not because they're stupid, but because they need to be understood. They crave it. They want someone to look at them and say, "I get you." But let me tell you something. Nobody truly gets you. Nobody ever will. People don't see you. They see a version of you that fits their story, a reflection of their own desires, their own fears, their own expectations. They don't want the real you. They want the version of you that's easiest for them to deal with. The one they can predict, the one they can control. And the moment you stop playing that role, the moment you stop being what they expect you to be, that's when the fear kicks in. Because now they don't know what you'll do next. Now you've broken the pattern. Now you're unpredictable. And people don't fear what they understand. They fear what they can't explain. That's why the strongest men don't talk much. They don't overshare. They don't sit around hoping someone will validate their pain, because they understand the truth. Words are cheap. Explanations are cheap. Power isn't in what you say, it's in what you withhold. It's in the silence, in the unreadable expression, in the complete and total control over what you let the world see. And that's what you have to master. Control, not of others, not of circumstances, but of yourself. Because once you control yourself, nobody else can. Once you decide that nobody gets access to your mind, your emotions, your weaknesses, that's when you become something they fear. That's when you become something real. But the problem? Most people don't have the discipline for that. They think strength is about fighting back, about proving people wrong, about making some grand statement to show the world who they are. But that's not strength. That's neediness. That's still seeking something. Validation, respect, revenge, whatever it is, it still ties you to them. It still makes you react to them. And the moment you react, you're predictable. And the moment you're predictable, you're weak. Because the strongest men, they don't react. They don't seek. They exist. And that existence alone, that silent, untouchable presence, is what unsettles people the most. Because when they look at you and realize they have nothing on you, no leverage, no insight, no way to push your buttons, that's when the fear sets in. That's when they know they can't control you anymore. And that's the goal, isn't it? To be uncontrollable, to be untouchable, to be something that nobody can define, nobody can manipulate, nobody can break. But to get there, you have to let go of one thing: the need to be understood, the need to be heard, the need for anyone to see your side of things. Because the truth, they won't. They never will. And the second you stop caring about that, The second you stop needing it, that's when you become free. And freedom, real, untouchable, unshakable freedom, that's what they fear most. Not your anger, not your strength, not your words, but the fact that you don't need them anymore. That's what makes them weak. That's what makes them hesitate. And hesitation, that's everything.